just changed in Kyoto.
Streaming and recording has started.
But are we doing the... Okay, so, have we figured out...
Mel, you should go back and watch last episode, see how that one started, because it was very similar to this one.
Yeah, very similar.
I'm not gonna bother.
You sure? Dude, Mel, you should watch all of our previous episodes.
No.
And then, but what you should do, because you don't contribute anything to this channel.
No, I
What
don't.
what you should do
I'm just like a body on
is record...
taking 1/3 of a screen.
Just record yourself watching all of the previous videos and like do like a laugh or riff tracks.
Riff tracks, huh?
Yeah, do riff tracks, reaction videos. So just title them the same name as the video you're watching, and then at the very end, asterisk riff track, but you got to spell it weird.
Oh,
it's
gosh,
like RIPH.
No. No.
R.I.P.
Riff.
Yeah, I know.
No.
All right.
That
Okay.
doesn't sound like a good idea at all.
I'm ready. Are you ready?
All right. Let me switch.
Putting the hammer down.
Let me switch to the tall boy first, and then.
And let's switch to this view.
Okay.
I purposely haven't really looked at what it says over here, so I can hopefully, still be maybe the third time in a row I screw up saying something in this.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, every time, right?
So last time Mike was reading, right?
No.
Yeah.
I think last time we actually figured it out.
No, I think we messed
So
up
last time I read, you guys chugged.
And we were chugging. And then then after we finished chugging, we were like, wait a minute.
Then
we
I must
messed
have
up.
realized.
We
Yes.
totally messed up.
Okay. So now we've got to.
And now we got to figure it out. Yeah, this makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then the order of like.
Question is, Mel, when you do your riff track. Oh, you shouldn't have opened that yet.
Shit.
When you do your riff track, you'll figure out when we actually made the first mistake. So cool.
Yeah.
It's totally not gonna happen.
Keep us up to date. I'll watch.
It's totally not gonna happen. All right, ready? Are we ready?
You're more than ready.
I jumped the
Are
gun.
you guys ready?
Totally jumped the gun.
I'm ready.
I'll just make a soundtrack effect.
All right. Welcome to Home by 8 Drunk by 10 Season 5 Episode 1. This is a 5-bagger, which is when one of us watches a movie 5 times in 5 days and the other 2 probably watch it once each. Today's movie is Where Dreams Go to Die, a documentary released in 2017. It is 1 hour and 16 minutes long. This is Mel and Brian, and I'm your top batter, Mike. We apologize in advance for the audio, video, and content quality. Enjoy!
Oh, God. I was listening to the newest Adventure Zone episode today, and I spit coffee all over the table.
I've stopped.
That's something they said.
That, man.
There's a couple.
Are you guys?
There was a rough section when they were doing experimental stuff.
Yeah.
But they're back to an actual arc, and it's getting pretty good.
So on my podcast app, I have so many. I'm so much backlog of that show, that podcast, and I'm like, man. Is it really worth it? But I was tempted today or this week to ask you guys, if you're still watching that or listening to that podcast.
I am.
Man.
Yeah, I also listened to it earlier today.
Because I got that, like you said, there was that little bump of episodes.
Well, whatever it was called, the Frozen Century. What was it? That part of the main arc was awful.
I don't remember the name.
It was a slog. And then after they finished... it was nice that they wrapped it up, and I liked those characters or whatever. But then they did this kind of experimental thing where 2 of them were pretty good, 1 of them was not.
Didn't they do a new game, a new type?
Yeah,
of
they did
game?
3 different games.
Yeah,
and then finally they're back to an actual series, and so.
So should I just skip ahead then
yeah, just skip to the new season.
Okay.
You could go back and listen to the. It's 3 episodes or something.
Yeah, listen to whatever the one that leads into this.
I think it's called Amnesty. Yeah. There's an Amnesty arc.
Yes.
So it's they did 3 different experimental things.
Okay.
And that's a short story that now they're continuing that.
Okay.
So anyway, we'll talk about that.
Anyway,
Yeah, you should listen to those. Yeah.
Sorry to digress.
You mean sorry?
Sorry to digress.
Yeah, sorry.
What are we doing, guys? What do we do on this thing?
Yeah,
again?
top better, Mike.
It's me.
What do we-
I'm
yeah.
going to talk about Where Dreams Go to
You're
Die.
You're the
Dreams
Ichiro of Home by
Go
Drunk
to
by 10.
Die.
Yep.
You know when?
So
Can I just say something? When Brian,
No, we gotta do this.
when Brian mentioned this title, the immediate thought was that Robin Williams movie, Where Dreams May Come, and I was
What
like,
Dreams May Come?
wait,
yeah,
is this
when
that
Dreams May
movie?
Come, I've seen that.
yeah,
I've seen
right.
that
I've
too.
seen that too, and I'm like, wait a minute, were we watching Robin Williams again? That was the last episode, the last Five Bagger that we did, and in my back of my mind, I'm like, damn it, Brian, why are we going to be watching a fucking Robin Williams?
Too soon, bro.
Yeah,
too soon.
That's better than me. I had no idea what this was called until like right before we watched it.
And then so anyways, but then when we finally watched this movie, and Brian started explaining, I was like, oh, okay, I got it. But let's
Yeah,
just
before we started watching, all I could remember about it was that it was something about running. It was a documentary and something about running. That's all I could remember.
Don't read my notes, Mel.
I'm just looking at the blue. It's a very
So when it starts with that cartoon thing about, do you know what
the Barkley Marathon?
yes, okay.
I was like, oh, that's right. It's about the Barclays. Okay, yes, now I remember. But,
So
yeah.
you knew this because you watched the documentary?
yeah, I watched that YouTube one about the Barclays.
Wait, YouTube?
Or Netflix. Not
Okay.
Netflix.
Yeah, it's called the Barkley Marathons, the race that eats its young, or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I watched it about a year ago.
Mike's, guys, I'll be honest, I did not know anything about these marathons until you guys mentioned it to me.
Okay.
Not anything at all. I do know about the ultra marathon world, but I just never knew anything about the Barkley marathons or any specific events.
Okay.
So this was all new to me, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I had never heard of anything. I just happened to be like, I've got nothing to do. Let's watch a documentary.
There you go.
And so that was why I knew anything about it.
Okay.
But yeah, I didn't like that opening cartoon thing.
Anything?
I understand why it's there, but I didn't like it.
Anything particular you didn't like about it, or just you just didn't like it?
I wondered why they chose like the Fallout style 1950s cartoonish apocalyptic vibe.
Like I didn't like the art style of it. Like
I didn't understand that. I mean, it was explained in they meant to explain what the marathons are about, but I just didn't understand where they were going to go with that vibe.
Well, good point. They didn't go anywhere with the vibe.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it seemed really, especially by the end of the movie, it was like, wow, that really was out of place.
Uh-huh.
Like, it seems like that could have been a better start. It was a weird.
This is another one of my favorite
real
pictures.
Weird start to the movie, I guess.
Did you just snort?
I did.
That's the first time I heard Brian snort.
It happens. It happens sometimes. My sister does it way more often.
Oh, it's good. I like it.
But I didn't take a lot
It's
of
freeing,
notes.
Mel. It's freeing. Oh yeah.
Oh, it's good.
All right. I took a lot.
I assume you may have noticed more. Yeah, I didn't take a lot of notes. I watched it a couple days ago. I don't know. I liked it. I liked that other Netflix movie. I liked this one. Because like the Netflix one focuses more on like the guy that runs it, that Lazarus Lake guy.
Right.
It kind of talks way more about him and about like the race itself.
Yes.
Whereas like this one clearly, focuses more on the guy running it.
Right. And I think the full title is Where Dreams Go to Die, Gary Robbins and the Barkley Marathons.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's
basically
true. There's more.
The subtitle is it's not about the race. It's not about Lake. It's about Gary Robbins. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, Mike, if you did not watch that Netflix documentary first about the Barkley Marathons.
Wait, you didn't?
I didn't.
So you're the best person to answer this question. But go ahead.
But I'm gonna wait for Mike. I want to know Mike's answer first. Is like, did you feel anything? Did you feel anything like if you didn't watch the Netflix documentary? Did you feel that your attitude or your level of participation in watching this documentary would have been different, or did you feel more?
Do you feel like he had a base to jump off of?
I think it definitely helped. I mean, I think that's clearly why that cartoon is at the beginning. Okay. Because they're not gonna they basically are telling you we're not gonna explain this race.
Right.
This movie isn't about the race. It's about that Gary Robbins guy. It's so. Okay. Yeah, definitely. I think I would have felt differently about it.
Yeah, I mean that's gonna totally segue to what I felt.
But also at the same time, the difference between both of you is Mike has never really been a runner. Mel has been, right?
I mean, yeah, but
I mean, I'm not saying that you're an ultra runner or anything like that. But there is there is an inherent interest or understanding that's different. And Mike's been on huge, and I asked you earlier this week if you ever been to STP or whatever. You've been on very lengthy bike rides and stuff like that. You've ridden around Lake Biwa and all that kind of stuff. So you have some endurance bicycle experience, but not running, right? And running and bicycling are
I ran
different.
A lot in junior high, high school.
They're different breeds. That's for sure.
So I was just it's just an interesting view.
I
again have a different view than probably both of you.
Right.
But we'll get to that later.
Right.
But so like I said, I didn't take a ton of notes, but I know in the first go around, that third guy, the John
Kelly,
yeah. Yeah, all in my notes is oh man, that guy does not look good.
He's right there.
Was 2016 or what?
Right,
whatever the first race was.
16.
I was just oh man.
I did remember that.
When he came back to fucking camp,
he doesn't know what planet he is on.
That face,
I got 14 minutes to get back out there, and he gets back out there. What?
So that's where my personal interest, my personal background started getting I started getting attracted more to that movie with those specific scenes in this documentary. When you see, because I've ran cross country in junior high school and high school, and I've seen kids like that face and the way those move, and you're just man, he's really pushed himself to the limit, and you can feel as a long distance runner, you can feel those people, you can feel for them. And yeah, he did not look good. He was gonna. I was like, dude, there's gotta be an ambulance somewhere. When he was rolling in after was it the fourth loop? Was it the
that was
yeah,
he was about to head out.
Yeah, and I remember that scene, and he rolled in. And I'm like, dude, he needs an ambulance right now. I was really, really worried for him at that point. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a line in the other documentary where Lazarus Lake says something about the chances of someone dying up there are very, very small or something like that. Mm-hmm. But when you see him coming back to fucking camp, you're like, he might already be dead.
Yeah.
He probably got resuscitated and he's just struggling.
He's got the defibrillators on his chest currently.
That's what I was thinking. Dude, that guy is done.
The only other thing that I wrote in my notes was that I could not it took. I mean, I guess they do finally explain, but when at the end of the second race, when he comes back and doesn't make it, comes through the wrong way.
Yes.
And he's on the ground and he's talking, and I was like, what the fuck happened? I don't understand what happened. I can't understand. He seems like he's just talking nonsense. I can't.
He was.
He was.
Kind of.
Eventually, I was like, okay, I see it. He got lost and cut through the wrong way. I get it. That sucks. But
Well, yeah, he got down the wrong way because otherwise he wouldn't have made cutoff, but he still didn't make cutoff. But
And before that scene, I mean, I think there's a little bit of foreshadowing before that when I'm gonna during my take I'm gonna explain that part where he was kind of in like this weird hysteria and panic mode like before that last.
when he's back at the camp, yeah,
back in the camp, and it's kind of like a foreshadowing, like, dude, this guy's like
he cries,
freaking out that he's not gonna make the time, So yeah, but yeah,
what's the worst could happen?
I was with you, Mike. I was like, man, what the hell, man? What's going on with this dude? What's going on? A little bit.
But yeah, I thought it was a interesting documentary. I'm curious what it was like watching it 5 times because I have no interest in watching it again.
I cannot wait to hear what Brian.
But yeah, I guess like as far as just like the movie goes, I don't know, maybe it was my setup, but like the audio was messed up. Like just the music was way too loud and the talking was too quiet. I had to keep turning it up and down. Like, yeah, like my audio was messed up.
Here's a hot tip. My wife actually yelled at me because my headphones were too loud at one point.
You're probably talking way too quiet for this mic.
Oh, wait, okay.
Good.
Oh, wait, never mind. Yeah,
Also.
but so like at one point my wife actually said, turn down the volume of your headphones. Because like there was one point where like my headphones were too loud, and it was definitely like yeah, you're right. There was like I think it was one of the interviews when he was interviewing one of the other runners, and like yeah, I didn't notice it, but like yeah, my wife was like, turn down your headphones, and I was like, all right, I'm sorry.
But yeah, like the closing like title card, like that was so loud. Because I turned it up to hear like whatever was being said before that, and then that like just super blaring sound and like the where dreams go to die comes up on the screen.
Right.
That's weird. Let me jump in real quick. I have that problem a lot of times with movies, whether it's on my PC or it's on the TV downstairs, all the time. I didn't really have that problem with this movie in particular. So I don't know.
You sent us that list of stuff. I had the same problem with all the other YouTube videos that you sent.
Yeah, I did not at all.
The one.
Like I said, it could have been my setup. This is not the first time this has happened.
Like I said, also it happens to me all the time, and it fucking drives me nuts.
Brazil. I had this problem with Brazil. The sound was messed up for me too.
Yeah.
There was a lot of movies in the 90s that do that too.
Is this, like seriously all your notes?
That's all my notes, man. That's all I notes. It's all in my head.
All right.
I've only got 6 lines of notes.
I have 3.
Well, one is the title.
Yeah.
I have 6 lines of notes, and one of them is just the word "wow." So really,
it's all in my head.
What was the wow?
But yeah, the other, just as far as the movie goes, and I understand why it was this way, but it really sucks that there's no video of them out on the course.
Oh,
that's one of my hot takes, Mike.
It sucks that they couldn't show any of that, but I understand why they don't. But it's kind of weird. I feel like they did show more of it in that other documentary.
But Mike, I'm totally with you, and I think they like kind of wussed out in terms of footage for the Barkley marathons, and I don't know. I'll explain. I guess I don't know. Can I go?
Okay. Let me think real quick if there was anything else. I guess. Yeah, we can talk about the other YouTube videos when Brian goes. But yeah, I guess that's it. Yeah, I thought this movie was okay. I wouldn't, like I said before though. I don't think I've ever watched the documentary more than once. So it's not really a knock to this movie. But yeah, I don't have any interest in watching it again.
Okay.
What about Super Size Me? You watched that like 31 times, right?
Yeah, a whole month of Super Size Me.
Did you try the diet, Mike?
Well, no, he ordered a Happy Meal, and he just watched every day for a month while eating a Happy Meal.
How many toys do you have?
He's got a lot of toys. I mean,
behind this,
that's why that
covered
fucking picture frame is covering.
Yeah, really.
That's what it's covering. It's all the fucking Happy Meal toys.
Follow the money.
Yep.
All those like Hamburglar and cookie.
Wrong time.
Oh, okay.
Wrong time period.
I've got a couple other things to say, but they're about the YouTube
Okay.
videos.
Well, you should say it too.
Yeah, good.
Like,
Good.
okay.
Throw it up.
You should say it too. Here's the thing I wanted to ask you guys, because this was tough for me.
Get a little closer, bro.
Oh, sorry. So this is tough because, like, how can we digest and how can we rank a documentary among our other genres of movies?
Yes,
and that was the main fucking question that I was asking myself the entire time when I'm watching this. So basically, what I felt was the best way was, how much am I invested in this documentary? Like, what parts of this camera, what's his name? Ethan Newberry.
Yeah.
Ethan Newberry.
Like I guess I was trying to challenge him.
the boggling mouth on.
Yeah. I wanted to challenge him, like, so what are you gonna do to make my time feel worthwhile being invested in watching your documentary? I guess that's the only way to, rate his documentary. You know?
No, it's definitely not. But that's
how I felt. That's how I felt.
Exactly.
And I thought his Gary Robbins, I think his story was very compelling, and I thought like it was a great choice of a person to choose to follow and to do a documentary of. And like what Mike said, it was such a bummer that the organizer didn't let him do like actual footage of him running during the trails. However, I swear, I think this is my problem. Like, I think if he had like if Gary Robbins had a GoPro camera, like in some parts during the night.
Come on, let me talk.
Like, I really felt like that was my problem. Like, I get it. Like, you can only like record the footage like when they're coming in and they're coming out, and then at the camps or or even that they had some footage at the tower or something, right? And
yeah,
and
he was the other documentary too. That changed.
He was also granted special permission to record at the crossing,
right,
in 2016.
Okay,
right, where they were supposed to
cross.
Right.
Okay,
yeah. That was
and
it,
like so, I'm gonna bring in one of those YouTube videos that I watched, the one called A Decade On that the same guy did,
right?
And I watched it later, and I realized like how the Ginger Runner, right, about the Western States 100,
right.
And the Western States 100-mile event, and that one is much more compelling and much more just attractive because he had like the dude had like basically a GoPro, or some the pacer runners were filming him, right?
Yeah.
And it was, but you didn't really have to see. You don't have to see the route. You didn't really have to see the route at all.
I wish you had watched more of the videos I recommended also.
Oh, well,
especially the one that Mike watched. No. I know.
But I'm just saying, like, the same director that directed this movie,
yes,
did an amazing fucking job with his other shit. And then this one's the newest one. So I was a little kind of bummed out that he couldn't, fiddle his way with Gary Robbins to like put a GoPro.
Well, not only is it the newest one, but this is the one that's the first movie, also.
Oh,
right.
I don't know that part, but
right. It's over an hour, I think, is basically it. But
I don't know.
Anyway.
So, anyways, overall, I kind of lost like a lot of like intensity with the Barkley marathons. My note here was the times where I felt invested was his relationship with his wife. With the scenes that he had with his wife during when he came back to the aid stations, those were the times where I felt most intense, especially the 2017 last loop.
Can I jump in after this?
Yeah, like that. Near the end of the movie was the time where I was like really like feeling for this Gary Robbins guy, because that was a scene where he was in he just finished his 4th loop, and he came in and his wife is like panicking and he's freaking out. He's like in hysteria. He's trying to figure out like what to prepare for his final loop. That was the most intense scene in the entire movie for me. And then he comes out again and goes out to the woods. And then, you know, we all know how it ended, right? And like I was just like kind of like So I felt like I wish there was like a fucking guy there filming him for the last loop.
All right, so Mike watched a video called Wonderland. I forget the whole name. Wonderland something.
Yeah.
And it features the same runner, and it's not a full length movie video, but
pretty long though. It's like 45 minutes or so.
Definitely not. It's like 36 minutes, but cool.
Okay, I thought it was longer. Yeah.
Oh, that's not good. But so here's the thing. So it features the same runner who's married to the same woman. In that video, she's pregnant, and so she could not make it to the trip.
Okay.
Right. Okay. So I want to know what, based on what Mel just said, how do you think that they were never together in that video, right? So do you think that the relationship tension or the relationship I don't know whatever
dynamics.
Yeah. That's a good word. Is more impactful in the Wonderland video or in this video?
Are you talking
for me?
Yeah. He's the only one that's seen both of them, so you can't.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I guess I can say like I was gonna wait for you to get to the YouTube stuff. Like I said, you know,
just answer about the relationship dynamic in West.
0, both of them. I did not care.
Okay, interesting. Mike's a cold-hearted bastard, so what are you gonna do?
I don't know. It did. Yeah, no. Okay. I guess I'll get to it when you get to the YouTube video.
So I will say the reason why I keep harping on these GoPro things was when he couldn't finish the 2016 Barkley Marathons.
Right.
And he like gave up on racing, and like a year later, and he started training again for 2017. That little segment, that training montage where he was training in his where was he from? Vancouver, right? Like the mountains of Vancouver, like
he lives in Vancouver,
and he was like trekking.
He's from
up
Newfoundland,
right? Okay, that was. Those scenes, that's what I really wanted to see for like the actual Barkley marathons, because you know, like they're even in the Barkley marathons, they're still running at night, right? So why can't you like edit that shit out? Time, yeah. And those scenes where he's in his in Vancouver, like training up in the middle of like
North Vancouver,
okay. Training going up and down the mountain.
Specific about
that was pretty.
People from North Vancouver are weirdly specific about it.
I don't know.
Okay.
But like those scenes to me, I was like, oh, this is pretty intense. Like he might like catch hypothermia like any moment now. And he's like, yeah. He comes back down during sunrise. He's like, all right, I'm all good. I'm ready for the Barclays. You know. I don't know. I just thought. That what to me was like, all right, cool. This is how the movie should have been. All in all, my last thing that I want to say was I felt like this was entirely just like a movie trailer. I wish it was. I liked it. I liked it because I was introduced to this ultra marathon world that I've never known before. You know, and I wish it. I wish it gave me more than just what it had with the Barkley marathons. And I think it could have, and I think I call bullshit with this Lazarus Lake guy saying like, you know, you're not allowed to film, because I totally think that the director can easily edit out like some awesome footage like on a GoPro, you know, him struggling during the run. But so I don't know. That's just my take.
Before I get into my thing, I'm gonna comment directly on that. There's a possibility, and I don't know. So the Barkley documentary that everybody knows came out in I think 2015, right? And it definitely showed much more. It also had runners with GoPros and stuff like that, right?
Okay.
So there's a very possible reason that this video does not contain a lot of that. In that It's very possible that Lazarus Lake said, "Fuck that. We've got too much exposure. People know too much about the course already. You're not allowed to sow shit."
Okay.
Right? It's very possible.
Right.
However, I will counter that with, I watched a lot of shit pertaining to this from other ultra runners, and there are definitely people with the most recent 2018, also 2017, 2016 Barclays, where they...
Was it already finished, or did they do?
2018 is finished. Yeah, I'll tell you the result later.
Okay.
But there are definitely GoPro videos on the multiple GoPro videos from at least those 3 races from all different kinds of competitors all over the place. So I thought maybe he just got really strict about it, but I'm not sure that that's the answer, because that footage is actually out there.
Yeah, like I assumed that, like the first.
I assumed that too.
He was unhappy with the first one and didn't want any more out there.
Because I think a good director can easily edit out like shots where you can literally see the room.
And
or the
also,
books,
if you watch the Barkley Marathon documentary, the race that eats its young, whatever it's called, there are shots of the map that are blurred out.
Okay.
There are shots of certain things that are blurred out,
right,
or whatever. It does. It's absolutely in that movie.
Let me just say one thing for sure, though. This Barkley Marathon is fucking cool as hell. Like, awesome. Like, it is hard, and like you got to go and you're trail running, and you got to find these books, and you got to rip out pages that matches your bib number and bring them back like 5 times in a row. That is fucking cool. It's like mixing Boy Scout orienteering with like trail running, with like that. The entire concept of the Barkley Marathon with ultra marathon, the entire concept of this is genius. And yes, I did Wikipedia the Barkley Marathons, and I love how it started. Based on Wikipedia, it said like the guy who murdered Martin Luther King Jr. assassinated him. That dude. When he was in prison, he escaped. The prison was nearby, right?
Well, they go to the
prison.
It's in the prison, right?
That's where it starts.
So that's how it started, right? Like the guy who assassinated Martin Luther King tried to escape, or he did escape, and then
he escaped, yeah.
And he I don't know how long he traveled for 60 hours.
Mel, you should watch the documentary.
Okay, but I just
should watch the other one.
I just thought the dude who made this the Barkley Marathons, the entire system is fucking cool as hell. It really is.
That movie talks way more about Kim.
Yes. Okay. So
you should definitely watch it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just the whole concept is fucking like wow, badass.
For certain.
Badass.
Yeah.
I'm actually curious, like if special forces or Green Beret guys can do it.
You should watch the documentary.
Yeah, really? Are there special forces and Green Beret guys there?
Yeah. There are people in like fatigues and shit running. Trying to run it.
The beginning of the movie we watched where they said, "Hey, you should watch this other documentary first."
Yeah.
You should have followed their advice.
Yes. When they're like, "Hey, this is very well received. You should watch this video about this other marathon."
I usually read the book. I did not go and read that book. It was mentioned.
I tried. So the only problem is to get it in Japan reasonably easily. It was like 2,000 something yen, which 20 something bucks.
Which there's no Kindle version of it.
Exactly. If there was a Kindle version, I probably would have read it. And I will tell you, boys, that I spent probably a good Barclays amount of hours on this week. And the reason is, I watched this video on Sunday, and I really didn't like it at all. I was so disappointed. I'd been looking forward to this so much, and I'd watched the Barclays documentary, the other one, right? Mm-hmm. But this week also, I watched this video 5 times. I watched the Barkley Marathon's the Race That Eats Its Young documentary again, I also watched all 5 of those videos that I put into that playlist again. Plus, I watched the one that you watched another time.
A decade
on.
Yeah.
I watched the one that you watched another 2 times. And I watched a bunch of other shit. And the main reason I did all of that, and I watched so many hours of this stuff this week, is because I wanted to really understand why I didn't like it. And I think I got a pretty good grip on it. And a lot of it is one of the main reasons is there's almost no course video. Like at the very beginning of the video, when they go up for the first lap and they're standing on top of the tower, and they film them coming up the rat jaw. That is about the only time you see anybody on course the entire video, which sucks, which absolutely sucks. But because what you see is about a minute of somebody leaving camp and a minute of them coming back to camp.
It was very like Blair Witch Project
like, what
stuff.
The fuck is this? It's awful. It is awful.
It was very Blair Witch Project-esque. Like I felt like people were like acting out running.
Yeah, it was really, really. There was questionable decision after questionable decision after questionable decision, and like when I first watched it, I was like, I really want to know why I really, really dislike this so much, because I love Gary Robbins. All right, I've known him.
Yeah, I want to know.
I don't know him, but I've known about him since long before either of these attempts.
Okay.
The reason I know the Ginger Runner is because of Death Cab for Cutie, right? Because I follow Ben Gibbard on like Twitter and Instagram or whatever, and he posted something. This is years ago now. He posted something about like running an ultra marathon, and I was like, "What the fuck? Does this guy really run ultras?" And like I had no idea, because like in my brain, and I've seen them live recently. In my brain, I remember him being a big fat chubby dude.
Right. No. When I saw him, he was a pretty chubby guy.
Right. When we did you
back in 2000?
No, but were you with us when we saw him?
Summer Sonic.
Yeah.
Summer Sonic.
He was totally not at that point.
Totally fit. He was totally fit.
And that was the first time I'd seen him live, but I didn't.
No, the first time I saw Death Cab for Cutie was like '98, and he was like chubby.
He was chubby mofo.
Yeah.
And so the only reason I ever came across it because.
He's connected to the Ginger Runner somehow?
Right. So Ben Gibbard is the lead singer and guitar player of Death Cab for Cutie, rhythm guitar, I guess. And he's from Bellingham. Sorry, he's from our home state, and so
he's
like,
an ultra marathon runner.
Right, and I was like, what? This can't be serious, really? Because I thought like he was posting some joke marathon picture or something, and like I googled it, and he had done an interview with the Ginger Runner. And the Ginger Runner, Ethan Newberry, does a show every week called Ginger Runner Live.
Is he also from Seattle as well?
He is. Yeah, I think he's from near Seattle. I think he's actually from. I can't remember if it's Issaquah or Snohomish, or not Snohomish. What's the lake over there? Sammamish.
Sammamish.
I think he might be from Sammamish. Anyway, so yes. And the guy in the Western States, Decade On, he's also from Seattle.
Brian Morrison.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
So anyway, there's a great Seattle connection. So the first place I came across was an interview with them, and Ginger Runner does a show every week, a live show where it interviews ultramarathoners, blah blah blah, and that's the first thing I came across.
Okay.
And then I started watching his videos, and like they were like nothing I'd ever seen as far as like real low budge, like ultramarathon documentaries on YouTube and stuff like that. And I've tried to watch a couple of other people, and the quality was never nearly as good as his. He's got really, really good quality. So some of the best ones I remembered off the top of my head were those 5 I put into the that playlist.
He's got a good eye for shooting, though. I give him that.
He does.
But I didn't, not
except in this movie,
yeah.
Which is absolutely confounding.
That's why I was confused. Like
the 5 I included, the one that Mike watched, Wonderland, is beautiful. Okay. There's like amazing cinematography, and like even
there's great shots in this one on A Decade On.
So here's the thing.
There's some great shots.
So I thought that there was very, very in Decade On.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Some great shots.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so the reason I recommended that one also is because they did a movie theater tour with that one also.
Oh.
Right? So him and Brian Morrison went around to a bunch of different theaters and played this. And they did the same thing with Where Dreams Go to Die. They did a tour around the U.S. and Canada. And so that's why I thought they were the most comparable, because they did a tour with both of those. The reason I thought that Wonderland was most comparable is because it's the same subject. Right? So after I watched this, I was like, man, this is... I really disliked this for many, many reasons. The cinematography was terrible. There was almost no dynamic shots. Like, there was no... And during this tour, he did a series of, like, kind of road vlogs called Ginger Bits. He did the same thing with A Decade On. And, like, the cinematography in those Ginger Bits was way better than this whole movie. Like, and it was just a travel vlog, basically. And, like, there's no aerial shots, almost, and there's no, like, time-lapse photography.
But I wonder if that was, like, Lazarus Lake saying no drones, like, no aerial
I mean,
shots.
he can't say that, first of all, because he doesn't own the park.
Well, there could be state park.
There could be
state
but
park rules.
You could go somewhere else, and
I don't know though.
You could go somewhere else and convince anybody that this is the same fucking place, right?
Oh, sure. Yes.
But the number one most egregious thing in this whole thing is the color correction he does, which absolutely confounded me. Like, there's a time when he comes back after his, like, second or third loop, and he's inside the tent, and, like, the coloring on his beard is like moving out of his beard. You see, like, a picture like this, his shirt looks orange, right? And, like, when he comes into this is what's his name, John Morris,
John Kelly.
John Kelly,
Yeah.
Right, when he actually finishes, he sits down and, like, he's wearing an orange shirt in the movie.
Yeah, I noticed.
It's fucking it's bright fucking red in reality.
Right.
Like, I went in and I looked at the thing, and, like, there's such terrible color correction this whole movie. Like, it's really, really off-putting. And I was just really confused at a lot of stuff he chose to do.
I actually thought this movie was his first movie, to be honest.
But for me, the number one thing about this whole movie that I wish was changed was his narration. It was awful. Like,
he's a bad,
he's not a bad narrator. He is a very good narrator in a couple of movies that you guys didn't watch that I suggested. One was Amongst the Evergreens, and one is something about Cascade Crest. Did you watch it?
So, yeah, I guess I'll get to this now. I started all of those movies.
Oh, really?
All of those YouTube videos. That's why I said Wonderland's the only one I finished. Because I started all of them and just was bored. Super quickly. So the only reason I watched all of Wonderland was because I've walked a bunch of that trail with my family as a kid. So I recognized a lot of it. And then I thought the shots were cool. But, like, yeah, like you were saying, Mel, earlier, that, like, the like GoPro stuff, or, like, the actual, like, I don't find any of that interesting at all.
Oh, really?
Like,
okay.
I don't feel like that is. It would not have made the movie better for me.
Okay.
So
I just think it would have been.
The only reason I think I was
got a question
okay with this movie was because I had seen that other one first, and I knew about the Barclay, so I kind of knew about the race. Like, yeah, I don't. Okay. I think my opinion of the movie would have been, I think, hurt quite a bit if I had not watched that other documentary.
Okay, I've got a big question in just a second, but I think in a lot of his other videos, his narration works really well when the story is about him, when he is doing the race. His narration really fits because he talks about a lot of his emotions and stuff like this. But I think when the story is not about him, like in Western States, the Decade On, his best style of narration is just titles.
Yes, and you notice in that the Western States 100 movie, he doesn't really talk so much.
he talks almost not at all.
Almost not at all, right? And it's
Right.
just the
all,
title.
all of the
subtitles.
narration for the video is through interviews
Yeah,
and through titles.
that's
And
probably better for
it would have been so much better in this movie if he'd done the same thing. Because
Yeah.
also in the one that you actually finished, which is Wonderland, he does not do narration.
Yeah.
It's all titles and interviews.
No, it's all like text on the screen.
Yep. Exactly.
I agree.
And I think that works very well for anything that he's doing that's not about him. When he's doing something about him, like in Amongst Evergreens and whatever the other ones are called, when he's talking about his, his trials and tribulations and stuff, I think it works fine. I don't think it's as good as when he's not talking.
I just think this movie, it could have been edited so much better, and it would have been a better movie.
Could have been so much, and for me, a lot of the movies that he makes that I really like are basically glorified music videos with interspersed dialogue, right? And he does all the music, and in this movie, the music was really, really subdued
Minimal?
and really, really boring. And so,
Oh, so he writes all the music?
he does it.
For all-
Yeah.
Oh.
So,
Hmm.
so yeah, I found it to be really, really boring, front to back.
Let me ask you guys. I mean, this is still the question I have, though. Is like, what makes a good documentary? Like, what for you two? What makes a good documentary?
Well, hold on. Before we get to such a broad,
I mean, it's
question,
a broad question, but
it's a very broad
but
question.
let's
finish
put it into the five
this
bagger.
But also,
like,
I agree with you. I think that this movie could have been served greatly with having on-course video, which is what brings me back to Mike. Why? You said you watched the Wonderland one because you'd walked a lot of that trail with your parents, but you wouldn't have known that you'd walked a lot of that trail with your parents, or you wouldn't have had any connection if there wasn't the on-trail video.
Yeah.
So what's up with that?
Well, no, so like...
it's just like an
the
interrogation.
reason I watched all of that one was, because... Well, I guess that storyline also, I thought, was actually, honestly, more interesting than the Where Dreams Go to Die. Him going for the known record or whatever it was called around Mount Rainier.
Time.
So it was a combination of, I thought that was a more interesting story to see if he could do that, and just that I was familiar with quite a bit of the trail.
Yeah.
And just to see, like, I watched it as a kid, so this is like 20, 30 years ago that I walked some of it, so definitely a lot of it has changed. Yeah, I'm old.
You had to add that fact.
But I think a lot of the shots of just like the open fields and like going through the forest, I think those are cool. But I don't know, I mean, all those other videos were kind of the same thing, but I most of them I got 10 minutes, 15 minutes into most of them and just stopped watching. Just, I don't know. I didn't find any of them that interesting. I guess I got maybe about halfway through the Decade On one and just never went back to it.
I think part of it is also you don't have any interest in running culture. Maybe.
Nope. Zero.
That's the thing. This is very focused. It's very...
So I'm surprised you... I figured of all of them that Wonderland would be the one, and a lot of it has to do specifically with it being Mount Rainier. But yeah, I think that... I'm not surprised. But I think that this movie could have been better served with some on-track, on-trail video. Definitely. Oh my God, it was awful to see. Hey, they went out. Oh, hey, they're back. Oh, fucking God.
Like, even like a fucking scene of him puking.
But not only that, but this person has been gone for fucking 13 hours.
That's what bothered me.
And you've got no fucking B-roll, basically. Come on.
That's exactly what bothered me.
Like,
they're rolling into camp like 9 hours later in the middle of night.
Well over 9 hours later.
And I'm like, wait, can we see something at night?
Let's get a drone.
So I was thinking about this earlier today because of like the lack of like the on course footage.
Yes.
And I don't think this would improve the movie, but I thought it was funny if they had brought back that terrible cartoon style thing and done like cartoons running around the map while he's like talking about what happened to him or them on the course, like anything interesting.
That
like,
would
give me more interviews with anybody, not only Gary, but everybody.
More
interviews.
That would have been something very fresh to have, like an animation of.
No, it would have been silly. And
but I mean, if you're
but when you start the movie with that levity and you just fucking abandon it, it's so weird how abandoned comedy
this is. Another, I forgot. All of his videos are, I feel like, a little overly dramatic and serious.
Right.
The ones that feature him, absolutely, yeah.
Well, like all of those videos and this one, I felt like this is being taken a little more seriously.
Do you guys think he's like preaching too much to the choir, or is he trying to introduce?
I mean,
he's playing to the people that love this shit.
Yeah, these videos are for people that are.
They're not for the general public.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Because for some reason I thought this video was going to be for the general public, because you didn't really hype it that way, but like it was like his latest video, so I had to figure it was supposed to be for the general public.
his travel vlogs and stuff like that, and his reviews.
Yeah.
Like if you watch his like gear reviews when he reviews shoes or packs or stuff like that, he's way more playful.
Okay.
Way more playful. And I think in a lot of his other race videos, he is much more playful on the trail. But when he's telling these stories, and especially the 100 and the Western 100 and this one, there's like no playfulness except for the very beginning of this one. And like I thought that was really doing a big disservice, because there were times in the video where Gary was being quite funny. And same with the Wonderland, he was being quite funny, quite goofing around or whatever. But it was just like hung out to dry, and like
it's a disservice to Gary Robbins.
At the same time, one of Ethan's only lines in the movie, I have it here. What does he say? Gary Robbins comes back to camp and he says, "Banana," and then the next line is like he says. Ethan says, "Poles, nip tape, lube, map." And it's like, that's a pretty good thing to include. Poles, nip tape, lube, map. All right. That's pretty good.
I will say, like, thank you, Brian, for introducing me to this Gary Robbins guy, because I think this guy is an amazing man.
He's phenomenal. So can we, before we go on to your thing about documentaries, can I say what happened this year?
Oh yeah. What happened?
Hold on, wait. Before you say that,
wait.
Hold on. Go ahead, Mike. You can say it first.
John Ken.
Sideshow.
No, I'm just gonna go.
Okay.
I used to be way into mountain biking. I did a ton of it in high school and college.
Yeah.
These videos have that same sort of feel that like the mountain biking videos have.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure if you're not into mountain biking, those videos are fucking boring.
Yeah, one second though. I will say that his videos for the ultra running community, like, are way better than almost anybody else's.
Okay, so
yeah. Go ahead.
I'm not saying like YouTube. I mean, like, these are like produced. Like, you had to buy the DVD or the VHS videos of like mountain biking, and they were going to like exotic locations, and these guys were doing a bunch of tricks and stuff. Like, they're cool, they're fun to watch.
Right.
But this at times reminded me of I think it's called The Way Home or Going Home or something. It's a Red Bull video of this Trials biker.
Oh, Trials is badass.
It's so fucking cool. You should check it out.
I respect Trials. It's fucking Trials
like
like
5
BMX
minutes,
bike.
not that long.
No,
but it's this guy just riding all around. I think it's Scotland or Ireland. I'm not sure, but It's a crazy video, and it reminded me of the Wonderland.
Wonderland. Okay.
Where like it's just like
I've seen it. I think I've seen it on YouTube.
Can I say that I think I tried to find this to show you, Mike, but there was that trials video like GIF I came across on fucking Twitter once. That is like it's a trials dude ready to go, and then it cuts to Morpheus and he says he's beginning to believe. Like the he's beginning to believe thing is like a meme. I'd never seen it before. The first time I ever saw it was this trials video. He's like doing this. He's beginning to believe, and it comes back to him and he just fucking kills himself basically. And I could never find that fucking video again.
Dude, it's gotta be on it. It's gotta be on it.
Dude, I've searched everywhere. And like I can find he's beginning to believe like everywhere. There's tons of shit. I had no idea, but oh my god, every time I think of trials now, it's that in the video game.
Let me ask you this question, Brian.
Wait, didn't we have another question?
No? Well, is it my turn?
Was it you?
Yeah,
Right.
go. I just wanted to bring up that.
Do you consider this Ethan? What's his name
Newberry.
again? Ethan Newberry guy. Do you consider him like the Ed Sable of ultramarathon videos?
Oh.
Who's Ed Sable?
NFL Films.
Oh,
Steve Sable's dad.
Steve Sable's dad. Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
No.
Okay.
No.
Like he's not that. He's not the representative of what ultramarathon is about for the general public.
No, but it's also. I mean, the NFL and ultramarathon is.
I know, but I mean,
it's hard to make a comparison. So.
But like NFL Films introduced, football to a new way to.
Yeah. No. But no. Yeah. I mean, I think he's really good at what he does, but also. He's not trying to record the sport.
Because that's what I'm thinking he was trying to do.
No, he's like... So Gary Robbins, if you watch some of his other videos, a lot of the events that he's actually participated in have been run by Gary Robbins.
Okay.
Like the Cascade Crest 100 and stuff like that.
Okay.
And like his wife is one of Gary's crew members and stuff like that. And like... So it's quite a close community. Like there are people in the Western States 100, right? When they're introducing Brian, the guy next to him is I think it's Sage Canaday, and like he does a ton of videos, and like he's like a world class runner as well and stuff. And like so there's tons of people making videos all over the place. But
I'm just curious. I don't know. I just figured.
Yeah. No. I'm just saying. I don't think he's trying to, he's not trying to be the archive.org of
ultramarathon. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, like you said, preaching to the choir. Like I don't think he's trying to expand the ultra running community.
He's just trying to hype everybody up, like get those runners fired up.
I think not documented. I think he's just trying to tell good stories mostly.
Okay.
And like this is a great story. I just think it's not done well.
Yes.
And like he might have been hamstrung by some limitations. Maybe he wasn't completely barred from attaching a GoPro to Gary. Maybe Gary didn't want a GoPro. Maybe he was completely barred, or maybe he was just trying to respect the community. And
that's true. He doesn't wear a GoPro in that Wonderland video.
However,
during training, he was wearing one.
There is footage of him that year from other people's GoPros.
Hey, Gary Robbins?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm not sure. There were some questionable decisions made. But also one thing, I'm gonna do this real quick. One of the reasons I like Gary so much is because of this guy, who also has a wicked beard, and is also named Gary, and also
I can't see the picture, but I know what picture that is.
And also,
yes, that's what I thought.
This is not his most impressive beard ever either. He's had much more impressive. Is he also a fan
too?
So one of the big things that drew me to this story to begin with is I was the kid. I was Reed, right? When I was a kid, my dad used to run marathons all the time. or 10Ks or whatever it was.
Right.
And I used to sit on the lawn chairs next to the street with bottles of water ready to give to my dad as he ran by and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, and so my dad, Gary, has a wicked beard, and also he also has quite a high-pitched voice, just like this Gary does. So I've always been attracted to Gary Robbins for some reason.
Oh, there's a kind of okay attraction.
So I was that kid, man. I used to sit by the road and wait for him to run past, and when he ran past, I was like this, you know, when I was little.
So
and,
would it be like a dream of yours to be like the water boy for Gary Robbins if he run past you? Be like
no,
Gary?
not at all.
Oh, okay.
If my dad were to run a marathon nowadays, sure.
Okay.
But my dad has always been really into distance running.
Okay.
Like growing up, I heard stories of, I don't know how many times I heard the name Steve Prefontaine, and like just oh man, just so much. And I mean it's great. So I've always had a fascination, even when I didn't run. Even when I tried in junior high school, I tried to join the track team. I couldn't run because my knees were so bad even then. But you know, I've always had a fascination with this, and so I was really looking forward to this. I was really disappointed with the movie itself for many reasons: color correction, lack of diversity in shots, lack of diversity in subjects. Even I know it's a story of Gary Robbins, but there's so many other people that could have told his story than having narration and stuff like that. There's so many. You could have fucking flown a drone somewhere. You could have set up a time lapse somewhere.
I mean,
there's so like compared to all of the other videos that he's made. Like I said, the Ginger Bits, the travel vlog videos that he made while he was touring with this movie, all of them have better cinematography than a lot of this movie does. And I was really disappointed. Really disappointed. So I didn't hate watching this 5 times. It's an hour 16, so it didn't take up too much of my day. But
that was going to be one of my questions here at the end.
I also spend a lot of time watching a lot of his other videos, and so I spent plenty of time watching stuff. And so, by the way, so 2018.
I was gonna wait for that.
I have no idea.
Did he enter again?
He did. He entered and
he did.
He was accepted, and he failed. But everyone failed, and he was the only one that finished the fun run.
The fun run is the
3 loops.
Wait, what? He was the only one to finish 3 laps?
He was the only one to finish 3 laps.
And he stopped after 3?
Yeah. I think he it cut off. So I don't think he could have gone out for a 4th.
Clearly,
there was really, really bad weather.
Okay.
I was going to say, it must have been a weather thing.
Like, apparently going up, I think it might have been Rat Job. It might have been somewhere else, but it was basically like trying to climb a sheet of ice.
Okay.
It's
true,
it was
right?
just like hours.
They try to make it harder every year, right?
When is this race?
It's in May. May? I think May. Beginning of May.
Spring.
Oh, so it just happened.
Whenever we had our last episode,
it just happened.
It might.
Oh, okay.
It was like right after that.
Okay. I just I mean, I don't want to go too much into it, but
that makes sense because you said you really wanted to watch it like that next week.
Yeah.
You said
that. Okay. Yeah. Got it.
Yeah, it might be. I can't remember. March, May. Anyway, it's early spring.
I don't want to get into it, but it's.
Let's get into it, Mel.
No, I just want to say like.
Yeah, what's your you have some kind of documentary question you want to ask? What is it?
Well, it makes.
What makes a good documentary?
I can't imagine like a training program to prepare for this because it gets harder every year, and he purposely makes it harder every year. I just can't imagine.
Well, that's why virgins have a real low success rate.
Right.
But like, for example, some of the book
like,
locations remain the same. So if you can fucking figure out your way from camp to prison, you can get that.
You know how to get
because you know where it is basically, or you know.
Locations are the same, but like he switches it up though every year though, right? So
sure, some of the like when you start changes, what you're able to take with you might change, or stuff like that. But then, of course, weather changes, so he has no control of that.
Right,
but,
right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just like
it's fascinating.
If any three of us were interested to join this event, I think
we're not. None of us are.
We're not capable.
I think
no, I'm zero interest.
We are not capable.
We should hike around Mount Fuji though. Let's do that.
Let's do it. Okay.
Hiking.
Around like the base?
Yeah, the circumference.
Okay.
You should watch Wonderland. You should watch that video.
You definitely should watch Wonderland. It's
okay.
And
like some of the animations when he uses Bing Maps to like track the it's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, like you said, the beginning of this starts with an animation and like it's just completely disregarded the rest of the whole
that
video.
was my problem. I was like, man, this tone just got
puts
dropped.
It on a weird foot to start.
It does. It really does. I was shocked at how disappointed I was with this movie.
Which is totally off topic, but tonight, before coming to Brian's place, I just saw Deadpool 2. And
wait, hold on. Can I say something real quick? I've not watched like almost any Marvel movies.
Oh, that's fine.
So
cool.
don't spoil Deadpool.
I'm not
probably watch it someday.
Oh yeah, but like but you guys know about the Deadpool character, right?
I don't know shit about. I know it's Ryan Reynolds,
right? But Mike,
who's
how much do you know about Deadpool?
Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan.
Keep going. Keep saying it. You'll get it eventually.
Hold on.
Just keep chewing up.
Keep it going. Keep it going,
Ryan Reynolds.
Rhino Reynolds. Renal Reynolds.
He's like the best guy, right?
Remus
If you could
Rudolph
be
the
hold on. If you could be like a dude in Hollywood that's just like a cool dude, wouldn't it be Ryan Reynolds?
Sure.
That dude is pretty cool. I follow him on Twitter.
Cool guy.
He's a pretty
cool guy. Funny.
He's a pretty funny guy.
He's a pretty cool
yeah,
dude.
I know a lot about Deadpool.
So you know about like he in the comic books, you know how he breaks the fourth wall and
yes.
Okay.
I know that because I've played Lego Marvel Superheroes.
Okay. And
a lot.
And I wish a little bit of this movie. I wish it sets the tone with this like the beginning part, right? I wish it kind of played more, and like all of us said about the animation. I wish it kind of played it more to be more interesting and more.
Yeah,
fun.
dude. Okay.
That's the only connection I have with Deadpool.
If they brought those characters back and like they had them like press your luck, right?
Right.
If I can not avoid the noids. That's fucking
no.
That's Domino's Pizza.
Domino's Pizza, dude.
Whammies.
No whammies.
No whammies.
How
yes.
press your luck gonna connect to this movie?
So if they brought those,
you have lost me. So bring me back.
Shut up. If they brought those characters back in a fucking whammies situation where they were like overlaid over the regular, like an animation character over the video in the background in some way. Like, for example, when they show 40 people entered, next loop was completed by X number of people, next loop was completed by X number of people. If they had like some sort of animation, like the dude, the father, for example, from the beginning of the animation, he's like plucking people out or something like that, If they did anything else with that animation in a whammy situation, anything like that, where it was like, video in the background, animation over the top, not a full screen animation like the beginning was. That would have been awesome, I think.
I think they could have done better. He could have done better.
But also, I'm curious, what do you guys think the budget for this movie was? Oh, another thing I want to get to real quick. Like, the delineation between the years is clear when you're watching the movie. But, like, the fact that you're going to see multiple years is not clear from the beginning, is it?
I did not expect to see 2 years.
Like, I knew the results of both of these races. And I knew the result of the current year, right? But when I started watching this movie, it was, like, nearly halfway done. And he's, like, almost done with the race. I was like, wait a minute. I didn't realize we were watching 2 years of races.
Yes. At that point, I assumed like, okay, he didn't make it clearly this first year. He's gonna come back for a second.
I thought that's the basis of the
yeah,
movie.
but I didn't. When did you realize that?
Just because like I had like I moused over like the video at some point and noticed like he's almost done with the race and there's only halfway through the movie.
Yeah, exactly. Like I didn't.
Like that's the first time I realized.
I thought that could have been definitely delineated.
I'm with you, Mike. I was
like at the beginning, right?
Well, I mean, but he's trying to tell a story, right? You don't want you like.
Yeah, I know, but for me, it like pulls the rug out from under the beginning part of it. Like I feel like knowing that he fails the first time doesn't hurt the second time if you set up, and it strengthens the second time if you know he's gonna fail the first time.
Yeah.
So I like when I watched this, I knew that he had failed both of these times.
To be honest, I just felt it was like just a really.
I didn't know which one I was watching to begin with.
That was
until about halfway through, and I was like, oh, this is the first time he failed. I didn't realize it was the first race.
That was my problem.
I felt like it could have been set up.
Like I felt like it was like just an elaborated movie trailer because really the crux of this movie is the latter half of the movie, and I felt like after watching the movie, I felt like the beginning half was like him trying to kind of flesh out the exposition of like what this movie's about. Okay, it's a redemption.
I think
movie.
the first attempt is I think to let you or like someone like me, I had no idea about any of these people.
Me neither.
The first attempt is to give you an introduction to Gary, right?
Yeah. But Mike,
and to give you a feeling of like, oh man, he didn't get it, but he's gonna get it this next time. It's to pull you in and have you rooting for him. Like I guess you probably already are anyway.
But
I feel like you could have had that same feeling without not knowing that it was the first time. You know what I mean? I feel like that should have just been a more clearly messaged. I felt
that he's been doing this numerous times.
No. I mean, the first one was his first time.
Oh, okay.
But
the first one was his very first. Attempt.
Not messaging that this is the first time he's gonna fail, and then we're coming back for the next one.
Yeah.
Like I felt.
But he does. Doesn't it start with?
But I feel, man, like
the very first things, the first couple lines, aren't they kind of foreshadowing that he doesn't
failed?
Make it?
Yeah, I feel like he could have totally edited it. He could have totally.
I don't remember, but I feel like the first couple lines foreshadow that this is a failed.
I feel like it could have been done better.
Yeah.
Sure. Also, he makes it a lot more about himself. Like, this is our first time to Tennessee. We were greeted with blah blah blah. And like it has nothing to do with Gary.
I think that was a problem with this movie. There was a confusion like who is the main character of this movie? Was it Gary or was it this Ethan Newberry guy? Like
right.
I really felt like
exactly like I said in his movies where the story is not about him, when he doesn't do his own narration, it works so much better.
Yeah.
When the story is about him and he does narration, I feel like there is an impact. And I feel like the impact is fine. Whether or not you like the movie, I think that the impact of talking about himself, narrating about himself and his feelings is way better. This one, I feel like he should have just written some text on the screen. I think I would have... Let's say I rate this movie currently as a 2-star. Imagine. Whatever the upper echelon of that rating system is, who knows? But it's a 2. If he had not done his own narration, if he had just used either interviews or text on the screen, it's at least another 1.5 stars up.
I mean, I don't know this, but I would bet, like you said, like this is the first official like movie that he's done.
Right.
I feel like
how cool
I bet he felt like he had to put the narration.
He's got a nice shirt on.
I feel
exactly.
I feel like he really overthought the whole process.
Yeah, he got into himself. I think.
And
I think
I
so.
don't know. I'm very curious as to which point it came. Was he like, I've got so much footage, I could fucking make a movie, and then he overthought it from there, or was he like, I'm gonna make a movie, I'm recording all this, and then oh shit, I'm making a movie, I need to do something extra.
Right.
Or he's like, I'm making a movie, I need to do something extra, and then what's gonna put this over the top? Oh, narration.
I think it was all of that.
Which point?
I think it was all of that.
Which point did he fuck up?
With, like, man, like he just needed an editor. That's all he needed.
Exactly. Today, the fifth time I watched, not today, yesterday, the fifth time I watched it, I was like, you know what? This movie needed was a fucking co-editor.
Yeah.
Just someone else to sit next to him and be like,
a fresh pair of eyes.
For some reason, he's inside of this tent and his beard is glowing. Just anybody else's eyes on this before he fucking hit publish.
Yeah, I just felt. I think he was. Yeah.
And like I love it. I love a lot of his works, and I think what he does, and a lot of his cinematography, and even his humor and his graphic design is actually really, really good in a lot of situations as well. Love it. This movie fell so far from what I was hoping it would be. Unfortunately. But I will be first in line for his next one.
Yeah,
I
would watch another one. Yeah, sure. If he makes another like movie, yeah, I would watch that.
I could totally see it being another like a Netflix thing too. I could totally see it Netflix or like an Amazon Prime thing.
In 2019, if Gary Robbins fucking finishes this race, I'm gonna be super happy.
Not another I don't want to watch another Barclays thing, but if there's some other race or some other thing,
that dude, the Jared Campbell guy, that is a badass.
Dude, he is a mensch.
The dude won 3 Barclays. Right?
Oh, is he the first?
Yeah, the first guy. Why don't we make a movie about him? Because he won 3 of those shits, man. Like.
That's crazy.
He's pretty great.
That's a pretty fucking badass right there.
Yep.
Like
if you watch the documentary, I think it's the first 2-time winner.
Yeah.
Is featured. Okay. In one of the featured runners. He's the first 2 times winner, and I think Jared is also in it.
I think he's in the other one. Yeah.
No, I'm definitely he is. I think it's his first win.
Okay.
So the first guy, maybe the first guy to win 2 times, is featured, and Jared is also there for his first win. Because I believe it's 2015 is the other movie.
I want to see that documentary.
Maybe it's 2014.
I just want to see that documentary of his
accomplishments. Watch it. Oh, his accomplishments. Yeah, he's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's it.
But also, like when you watch a lot of these videos, so you'll find out about when you watch the Western 100.
Yeah.
There's a dude that won like 6 or 7 years in a row. And you just read about his which is insane.
It's ridiculous.
Just read about his accomplishments for fucking 5 minutes, and you're like, and then you watch the.
Like that's all he does.
You read about the guy that did the fastest known time around Mount Rainier before Gary Robbins broke it. And you read about that dude who's a legend, and just fucking, you're like, what? How is this possible?
It's
and like
fucking crazy.
Even so, Gary Robbins in this video, and even in the around Mount Rainier, you see him complete one race basically, right?
Right.
If you watch both of those videos, it's an hour and 40 something minutes, 50 minutes, and you see him complete one race. But like he's got so many records in so many races, and he's just done so many amazing things that it's like you watch him fit. Oh, this picture, this shirt. Do you recognize that flag? Mike, did you recognize the flag on Gary's T-shirt when he in the first race? There's a flag. It's got a blue border, white, green, and in the middle is like a coniferous tree.
What is it?
Coniferous?
No, the flag.
Blue, white, green. In the middle is a coniferous tree.
Blue, white, green.
Don't know. See, I wish we had
Nah,
more of these shots.
nothing's jumping to mind. I don't know.
It's the flag of the. Do you know Cascadia? It's like
No.
kind of a movement for independence for like Oregon, Washington, and British Columbia.
Huh.
It's
No, I don't know.
If it were to become its own country, it would be like
that's the country flag.
Number 8 biggest country in the world or something like that. Anyway, it's a great flag. I'm a big flag fan.
Apparently so.
Vexillology. Anyway,
it's a good word, vexillology. All right, so
that's it. I'm done.
Okay,
you done?
Yeah.
So, Mike, what makes a good documentary?
What makes a good documentary, Mike?
What makes a good documentary is when at the end I say, yeah, that was pretty good.
Oh, I like that.
It's all right.
For me, that's how it goes. Like, yeah, that was pretty good.
The big question, guys, is where do we put this in the list?
So I didn't. Unfortunately, I messed up and I didn't set it up in the thing.
Okay.
So we're just gonna have to. Mike, are you looking at the 5 baggers list?
I'm about to.
So we're just gonna have to say it out loud.
Wait,
it's not gonna come through over here.
The top.
This is
14?
the list right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got 14.
It's
weird because we've now watched 16 minutes. Yeah, you can read it off.
So let's start from the bottom to the top.
Got it.
Start at the top, man.
All right, for the top, number 1, we have The Karate Kid.
Best movie of all time. Hey, question. Have either one of you...
Can I finish the list?
No, you cannot. Have you ever been involved in one of these episodes, Mel? You can't just do, what you think you might be able to do. Have either one of you watched the Cobra Kai thing?
I have. It's fucking awesome.
Is it?
It's pretty cool.
YouTube Red?
No.
I don't. I watched. I binged. No. The first weekend it came out, I binged 5 of the episodes.
All right.
And it's fucking awesome.
I want to watch it real
it's
bad.
Fucking awesome. I'm not gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say.
I
fucking awesome. Oh man, I'm tempted to get YouTube Red just to watch the rest of it, but
I know a guy.
Oh gosh. All right. Number 1 was The Karate Kid. Number 2 was Nosferatu. Number 3, The Usual Suspects. Number 4, The Princess Bride. Number 5, Sleeper. Number 6, RoboCop. Number 7, Miller's Crossing. Number 8, Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Number 9, Brazil. Number 10, The Maltese Falcon. Number 11, Kimi no Naha.
No.
Try again.
No.
What?
Number 11. What was number 11?
Number 11, Kimi no Nawa.
Uh-huh.
I just know why I said it. Well, all right, whatever. Number 12, Friday Night Lights. Number 13, A Shot in the Dark. And number 14, Under Siege.
All right. Top 14. There it is. I've got my rank picked. I haven't picked out my drink yet.
Oh, yeah.
So I have my drink. I haven't looked. This is the first time I've looked at this or even thought about where it would go on the list. But
I am proud. I'm proud that we do now have a documentary on the docket, though.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it in the previous episode,
which was totally random because I had already decided that was what I was going to do.
Yeah. I had tried to find a documentary I wanted to watch more than once.
Yeah.
Couldn't.
The timing just really worked out for this one. If it weren't my turn to pick this time, I would have just watched this by myself anyway. Probably a month ago.
I've always hated this stage of our episode, guys.
Oh, I kind of.
Yeah, I know you hate this part.
I kind of feel like this is an easy one, Mel. Kind of feel like we might be able to just go ahead and say it right now.
Shall we go with the
I have where I think.
Shall we go 15?
Wait, we're not ready yet. Are we ready yet, Mel?
I don't know.
Are you ready yet, Mike?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right, let's say it all at the same time. Mike's got a 1.5 second delay.
Okay.
So ready? You got this on the camera, Mike?
Uh-huh.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
15.
15! There it is. Where Dreams Go to Die. Unfortunately, it goes to 15. If it were Wonderland, I'd probably put it above Under Siege at least. If it were,
I think if it was
Wonderland would go
actually,
higher.
if it was Decade On, I would put it up even
Decade
more
On,
higher.
Decade On
Actually.
might be right. Might
Yeah,
be
we're around
above A Shot in the
Dark. Actually.
Yeah, unfortunately, this one just.
I'll
just
give that
fell
Decade
flat.
On another shot. Maybe I'll finish it.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
what you should do, Mike. What you should do. Literally skip the beginning until he is introduced at the race, because there's a scene where there's an MC that introduces all of the runners, and he's standing up there, and Sage Kennedy is next to him, and a couple other racers are next to him, and he's standing there, and like he gets teary-eyed at that moment. I think from there on, you kind of might be locked.
You feel locked in, yeah.
All right. Yeah, I didn't make it that far. Whatever part of that movie or video is,
See,
I didn't get that far.
The other thing we didn't talk about with this film and the other YouTube films that you put on your playlist, Brian, is the fact that when the families are involved and the relationships that the runners have with the families, my time is invested. Like I start.
Depends on how ugly the kid is.
But
I think I showed out all my heart earlier, but that does nothing for me.
I mean,
Mike's heart is a fucking block of coal.
But like when I start seeing the runners' families and like, all right, I get it, you know, they're sacrificing their time to do this. I get a little bit teary-eyed. Yeah, sure, you know, sure.
No, I'm not laughing at you. I'm actually laughing at that guy. I'm laughing at how fucking cold-hearted that fool is.
I don't care. I don't know.
Exactly. That's the funny part. You are so cold-hearted.
No, it's like fucking cold-blooded. Rick James, motherfucker.
I'll fuck your couch. Real people in my life. No.
Cold-blooded.
I'll fucking put my shoes in your couch.
Fuck your couch.
Fuck your couch, nigga.
Don't say that. No. You went too far.
Okay.
You just say fuck your couch and then you're done. It's over. One more time.
Fuck your couch.
Perfect.
I don't know why that.
We can't say that word.
I guess not. You can't.
Why can't I?
I don't know.
What are you trying to say?
I don't know. Oh boy. Anyways, drinks, guys. Drinks.
I have mine.
Oh shit! I have. Okay, I got it. I don't know why I got it, but I got it.
I don't know why I'm going for this, but
it is the first thing that popped in my head. That's why.
Me too. Can I go first?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, do it.
I'm gonna go straight with an old-fashioned.
Not going with Jack.
No.
It's Tennessee.
Yeah, it is Tennessee, but I mean, this is a kind of a whiskey cocktail kind of vibe for me.
Sure.
This whole movie. Yes, it is Tennessee, but for some reason, it's got a sense of classiness. It's got a sense of classic. I go with a whiskey, old fashioned. Sure, it's American, right? Old fashioned's American, right?
Might as well
I have
be.
no idea.
It's an American cocktail. Yeah,
I don't think I've ever had an old fashioned.
It's so good.
I like this picture. This picture is real good, though.
I don't know that guy.
No one cares. He looks like Peter Dinklage.
If Peter Dinklage wears like a.
All right, Brian, you got your drink? Am I going?
No, I'll go. I got a sarsaparilla.
Sarsaparilla.
Sarsaparilla. Why is sarsaparilla?
It's like literally it is the first thing that popped into my head when I thought, what drink should I pick? It's sarsaparilla. Okay.
Sarsaparilla. When was the last time you guys drunk a sarsaparilla?
12 years ago.
I think I've had one once and I didn't like it.
I like sarsaparilla.
Really? I haven't had one. Wow, I don't know. 8 years old.
But I have the image of it being very country.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So there you go. It's a lot of country.
A lot of country.
A lot of sarsaparilla.
Yeah.
It's the countryman's root beer.
All right, my drink. The guy that made the movie is not Canadian, but the subject of the movie is
Labatt's.
No, so I'm going with in college my favorite Canadian drink, which you can only get in Canada.
Crown Royale.
Molson Triple X.
What?
Oh, snap.
I've never had a Molson Triple X.
It's like 9 or 10%. It's horrible. But yeah, I went up to Canada a few times when I turned 19.
Oh gosh.
And it's bad.
So if you had a choice,
but at the time it was great. It got me real drunk.
So like you had a long night of drinking, Mike, and you go to the convenience, you see a Molson Triple X and a Strong Zero. What do you go for?
What's the price? I mean, if we're in college, the price is the number one.
It's just probably a money, and it's not a thing in this situation.
Fucking, you live in that bad boy lifestyle.
Yeah, that convenience.
I'd probably go with the beer, the Molson.
The Molson, huh? Huh. Okay.
Or well, whatever the beer was. It's the end of the night.
Like it was like the end of the night, and like your eyes were like locking on these two cans, and you're just like, Molson or Strong Zero?
Are my eyes like an iguana, like independently?
Yeah, they're independently like scanning. There you go.
So, do you guys think consciously the Ginger Runner chose the very favorably orange palette because Gary's such an Edmonton Oilers fan?
Did he say that?
Oh yeah, he's a big.
Oh, it's in Wonderland.
He's a big Oilers fan. Okay.
It's also in this movie, I think.
Oh, is it in this one? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, also in the Ginger Runner, like they have like not uniforms, like shirts or whatever. It said on the back, it says "Follow me to beer" or whatever.
Oh, I remember one scene in this movie that
that's
he
why
asked about the score,
Yes.
about a hockey game, but I didn't know which team.
Yeah, "Follow Me to Beer" is a shirt he made a long time ago.
Okay.
Now, but the ending credit thing is always like train hard, race harder, party hardest, or something like that. But it's like, yeah, it's all he's a big beer drinker.
Okay.
Yeah, that's also why I picked a beer.
Okay.
Sarsaparilla.
Old fashioned.
All right, well that's it, and now we've just got one little thing to take care of.
Yep.
Oh, my next movie.
Yeah,
that's right.
I gotta just keep in mind I gotta pee real bad.
I can make it quick. Can you hold it?
Just drag it out.
No, please take as much time as you can.
I know. Okay, I know. We have done kind of a martial arts movie with Karate Kid, but it's not really a martial arts movie.
Oh, is this next movie going to be Tu Wong Fu? Thanks for everything, Julie.
I don't think
no.
Karate Kid is a martial arts movie.
You don't think so too? Okay,
count.
good. So I thought about that because I thought about a genre that we haven't done yet, and I thought about a martial arts movie.
Okay, can we guess?
Yeah, try guessing it.
Is it Ricky Taki Tak? What's the
What the fuck is this shit?
Oh no! I know what you're talking about.
What's
I don't
it
know
called?
the name of it. I know. Yes.
Ricky something.
Yes.
I will say the director
It's
is
not
quite
Ricky.
famous though.
It's Jackie Chan.
No.
Jet Li.
No.
Is it that guy that did the Shaolin soccer?
Yes, that's my movie, Mike.
Shaolin Soccer?
Yeah,
Shaolin
I've
soccer?
never seen it.
Oh shit!
I've never seen it
either.
I've never seen it, man. So here's my background. I saw his other movie called Kung Fu Hustle
I've heard of that.
Yeah.
in the movie theater, and I
dude
fucking
that
loved
that
it.
Guy has done a bunch of Kung Fu.
Stephen Chow. He's done a bunch of shit before, right? And like, so I've only seen Kung Fu Hustle, right? And like, fucking, all my buddies who love him, they're like, dude, gotta see Shaolin Soccer, gotta see Shaolin Soccer. I'm like, all right. I've never seen it. I have never seen it. So, is it on Netflix? Okay,
there we
good.
go, Netflix.
It is on Netflix. Good. So, I hope you guys, because I wasn't sure if you guys saw it or not, because I never saw it. I've never seen it. And so,
I've heard it's good though.
Well, I love Kung Fu Hustle, so if it's the same vibe, I hope it's good. So we'll see. I don't know. It's older. It's older. That's fucking weird, Mike. Dude, this is the first time. Like, fuck.
You nailed it.
You fucking nailed that shit.
That was I wasn't even trying to guess. I was just saying like that director, like that guy.
He's famous, man. He's like really. He's very Asian famous.
Chow Yun Fat.
No, Stephen Chow.
Stephen Chow.
Stephen Chow. So yeah, that's my movie I'm gonna watch. Shaolin Soccer.
Cool.
Yeah. We haven't done a martial. It's called, what is it? Sports action. Did it just say sports action for the genre?
Oh, you want to check IMDb? This is our official action comedy sport.
Okay.
Hour 27.
Yeah.
2001.
Yeah. Never seen it.
I get to read it next time. Welcome to Home by 8, Drunk by 10. This is a 5-bagger where one of us
So yeah, pretty
soon. Shaolin Soccer, which is an action comedy sport released in 2001, hour and 27 minutes. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna fuck you up. oh shit. Brain freeze.
Well, I'm actually happy that all of us haven't seen it, so this is good.
I have not seen it for certain.
This is good. This is good.
Cool.
Have you seen Kung Fu Hustle or?
No, I don't think so.
No,
okay.
I have not.
Okay, never mind.
I don't know. Is there anything else this guy's known for?
I think he's done a lot. He's done a lot of.
I think he's done a bunch of like kung fu movies before.
Yeah, he's
like
done a lot of
Kung Fu
stuff.
Panda. I saw that.
No, I don't think so.
He's done a lot.
Nope. None of these look familiar so far.
Yeah. So yeah, there you go.
But there's also several kung fu movies I've seen that I don't know the name of. So it's possible.
I'm happy that we can.
Anyway, yeah.
I'm happy we can all see it. We can grab it, right?
Yeah.
So
for certain.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
All
awesome.
Right.
I'm pretty
check
stoked
it out.
now. Woo!
Rock and roll.
Yeah. High five! Yay!
All right, goodbye, everybody. Enjoy watching all of that.
Go watch Deadpool 2. That was fun.
And before you do that, go watch Deadpool 1.
Oh yeah,
which I haven't yet.
Yeah, it was actually better than 1.
Watch Avengers.
Watch 10 years.